You know what's crazy is it actually goes from it goes the most oak to the less oak. 36 months, 24 months, 20 months, 9 months. That's pretty wild.
Wow.
But bigger. This is 2020. Okay, let's drink some wine. Hi everybody, I'm Bryan Hinschberger.
And I'm his little brother, Paul Hinschberger.
The little one. And we are the Wine Brothers. The big ones. This is one of my favorite lines of wine to drink. So we are up in Rioja, so northern Spain, drinking the wines of Bodegas Las Orcas. Raimundo Abando is the winemaker. And owner, his wife and his wife Christina, they started their winery. You know, their family's been making wine since 1900. But when they got married in the early 90s, they decided we want to make our own kind of little project of the family project. They started, that makes sense, right?
Sort of, yeah.
They started Bodegas Las Orcas and just make exceptional Rioja. So in Rioja, there's 3 different subzones, and there's the River Ebro that kind of comes through. You have the beautiful mountain influence, the Cantabrian Mountains, which sit just north of there. And on the north side, I felt like I was just doing this monkey ape thing going around.
I was going to say something.
Yeah. But I put my arms down. I'm good now. I'm good. So on the north side of the River Ebro is the Rioja Alavesa. On the south side is the Rioja Alta and the Baja. Arguably, one may say that the Alavesa produces the greatest Rioja in Rioja. I always want to say in the world, but you can only make it there. And I tend to agree with that comment. More chalky-driven soils, some really cool alluvial fans that are coming down. So beautiful soil types, and this is in just outside of the town walls of LaGuardia. So if you ever go to Spain, and if there's one town you must see, it's LaGuardia. It is the most charming little village ever. It's like it's an old city, or it's an old walled town, kind of built up on this little hill. In fact, their old bodega was on the outskirts, right on kind of the town wall, and it goes down this hill, and it went down 7 stories, and everything was gravity flow. In fact, this first wine that we're going to try was made in this old bodega. Gravity flow, super cool. So we're actually starting with the older of the 2 reservas that we're going to drink right now. This is a 1997 Rioja Reserva from Solar de Randez. And Solar de Randez, or Randez, is the House of Randez. It's an old family name of theirs. And this wine's cool. When you talk about classic Rioja, Raimundo is one of the top individuals you'll ever meet. We had this great conversation about what is classic Rioja. And classic Rioja, definitely people always think of American oak. But what is very classic is old American oak.
Right.
So this is a 1997. It was a actual field blend of all his Tempranillo fruit. Comes in versus kind of having his Joven now and his more Carantha and his Reserva, where he delineates the age of the vineyards. This was all field blend. Came in, done in the old method. It was fermented, and then it aged for 36 months in old American oak barrels. We're talking 20, 30-year-old American oak barrels, large oak. So if you get that massive, huge coconut Rioja, where it's like new American oak, not so classic. This, much more classic. Elegant, restrained. We're drinking, how many years is that? I mean, a long time ago, 1997.
16 years ago.
16 years ago, a beautiful expression of classic
Very cool.
Rioja. So what do you get on the nose and the palate?
You get that aged Tempranillo character. God. It's like dried figs, kind of stewed prunes.
But with don't think of stewed prunes as kind of old. I mean, sometimes you can just kind of take that in that way. This is so much freshness still in the nose
stewed
as well.
Plums, actually.
Stewed plums. Yeah. Yes, purple plums and red plums and black plums. I love the nose on this. I kind of get that little hint of like crushed peanut shell. You know what I'm saying?
No, not really.
Okay. Maybe fall leaves.
Yeah, I get it. I don't
Beets.
see the relationship between...
Check this out. Red beets, kind of roasted beet. What's happening on the palate?
See that? It's such an integrated wine that there's, it did spend 36 months in oak, and you can taste that, but not so much in an oaky way, but just more in a seamless,
smooth.
Everything's so integrated, the flavors just meld together.
The acidity is so beautiful still. I mean, this is a 1997, and the wine is just ripping.
Yeah,
it's like spot on, right on it. Really, really pretty. So, kind of a neat little taste of history too, because in '99, Raimundo went over and just outside the town, they built their new bodega, where they make all their wines, and so he doesn't do things in quite this old school fashion that he did back in '97. So I love drinking this wine. I think it's classic,
well,
and
it's a great label.
Super old school label, just beautiful, beautiful expression of what Rioja is. In fact, all four of these wines kind of take you on a little walk through what Rioja does.
Walk through Rioja.
Let's keep skipping, Paul. Let's go to the next one. So this is now the 2002 Rioja Reserva, but done in a different style. So this spends 24 months in French oak barrels. So a little bit more different approach, but Raimundo really loves French oak because of kind of the nuance that it can give, and the elegance and the structure, kind of the grip that French oak has over American oak. And the fruit is just pristine. So when he kind of went away from the field blend version, he now moved into more specific vineyards. So this is like his 70 to 80-year-old vine, Tempranillo fruit. Serious stuff, 24 months in oak. The only filtering that he does is through last year's grape stocks. As he does pump overs, and he moves into kind of whatever he does. He uses nothing that he buys. He just bundles up some old grape stocks, puts it in holes, and lets wine run through it. It's pretty cool. What are you getting on this?
Wow.
Yeah, the nose is amazing.
It's still seamless as ever. But there's more fresh fruit. For 2002, that's still 11 years old,
which is killer. And this is
all.
Current release Reserva in the country of the United States of America right now. This is like what Raimundo is releasing to us to drink. Why? Because Raimundo is brilliant, and he likes wines to stay kept until they're drinking beautifully. And this is drinking beautifully.
Yes, it is. It's floral. It's fruity. It's rustic.
And seamless. It's gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. So, moving into probably one of my favorite wines that Raimundo makes is the Pagos de ValdeOrca. Pagos de ValdeOrca is kind of a very special flagship wine of his estate. 100% Tempranillo. Okay. You got it.
I got it.
Coming from a 100-year-old vineyard. It's the highest elevation vineyard that Raimundo has. Just over 100 years old, pre-phylloxera, because phylloxera couldn't reach this vineyard. So these are pre-phylloxera vines. If you're not familiar with phylloxera, it was gross and horrible, and it killed all the world of wine in Europe. Pretty much everybody's, and everybody had to start fresh. This vineyard didn't have to start fresh. This spends 20 months in new French oak barrels. And I just think the character of this wine is just super, super pretty. Really, really classic Rioja tones. Gorgeous fruit, gorgeous earth, gorgeous structure. What's going on the palate? What are you getting here?
Oh, wow. Ooh, what is that? There's something in the finish that's really unusual and unique, but cool. Almost like I'm getting a beer yeast finish. I don't exactly explain why that is, but it's
beer
like real
yeast finish. Okay,
it's like a real yeasty.
It's kind of a freshness, but still settled and integrated.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was getting too. I love this wine. I think it's.
I mean, we're stepping up
in increments here.
In seriousness, I mean, this is like. I want to lay this down for a while. I mean,
for a long while.
It's not overly tannic or anything, but it just has so much, and it's It's drinking very well right now, but I think
it'll just kind of keep. It'll blossom.
10 years. Oh yeah.
And Raimundo does not make the Pagos de ValdeOrca every year. He makes it in exceptional vineyard or in exceptional vintages, especially because these grapes don't yield a whole lot, or these vines don't yield a whole lot of grapes, which makes sense.
Yeah.
It's beautiful stuff. So, in the same tier, he makes the Pagos de ValdeOrca. This is Finca El Musco, which is the particular little vineyard. 100% Graciano.
Very floral, too.
Very floral. Don't forget that on the last one. 100% Graciano. Looks like Graciano, but my skills are kind of just showing off. So 100% Graciano. And what's cool about this, I was actually telling Paul before we got started, what's interesting is, we have like 36 months in oak, 24 months in oak, 20 months in oak, and now this is actually 9 months in oak. And typically you would imagine this to be opposite of that. However, this grape is just ripping huge. It is just such an amazing, intense varietal. And 100% Graciano, which typically you'll see blended into Tempranillos. This is 100%, and what's cool about this vineyard is it literally is grown right around old salt beds, like these old lake beds, and they're just kind of white because they're all dried up and it's just salty. So it's cool because the vineyards kind of surround these two like ancient ponds or lakes or whatever. I have never tasted such incredible fruit from the vine.
Huh.
Like you taste a lot of fruit, you're like, oh, I want to taste that. Oh, there's a cab, there's a this, there's a whatever. Graciano off the vine, it was like pepper spice, delicious. Wow! Like flavor, abando. That's Raimundo's name. Raimundo Abando.
Abando.
So I meant to, that's kind of like abundant.
Abound.
Abound. It abounded with flavor. And so this actually ferments in giant oak barrels. And then is moved for 9 months into French barrique, and then rests in bottle for several years before he releases this. This is complex and it needs to open. I mean, throw this in a decanter and let it do its thing because in a couple hours you're just going to be king. Rhymed. So what do you get on this?
I think a predominant note is the white pepper. I mean, it's really, really peppery and
super spicy.
But also the fruit is very purple. It's a very dark fruit without being that overly ripe purple fruit. It's kind of just
gripping. The tannins are just like amazing.
Uh-huh.
The spice, the quality, the fruit, the earth, the rusticity. It's a really cool wine, and you don't get to find much 100% Graciano. So if you ever do, it's worth grabbing. Isn't that killer?
I just swallowed one and it's so much better than spitting.
Hold up.
Last wine for the lineup.
Gotta try some Graciano. So, again, this beautiful, amazing estate in the town of LaGuardia, in the Rioja Alavesa, super hands-off approach, very sustainably farmed fruit, making amazing Tempranillos, making amazing Graciano. Rye is just doing stunning work up in Rioja country. I love it.
Cheers to you, Rye.
Cheers to you, Rye. And he comes to the country every once in a while over here. He's fantastic. Find these wines. These are beautiful expressions of Rioja.
And cheers to you.
And you. Take care.
Salud.